We now come to the urgent question. Mims Davies.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To ask the Secretary of State for the Home Department if she will make a statement on the progress made since the publication of Dame Louise Casey's review into group-based child sexual exploitation and the impact of recent developments on confidence in the government's statutory inquiry.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the Honourable Lady for the question? Tuesday marked 1 year since the publication of Baroness Casey's national audit on group-based child sexual exploitation and abuse. The House will recall that the Government accepted all 12 recommendations of what was a landmark report, exposing more than a decade of failure and inaction on the part of the state. Scandalously, the most vulnerable in society were let down by the very institutions that should have protected them. As the Home Secretary made clear in her written statement to the House earlier this week, this government is determined to confront the failings that occurred directly and decisively. We have made good progress against the mandate for change set out by Baroness Casey, with action taken or ongoing in relation to all 12 of her recommendations. We have changed the law on rape to remove any ambiguity about the ability of 13 to 16-year-olds to consent to sex, established a new national police operation, Operation Beacon Port, overseen by the National Crime Agency and backed by £38 million of funding this year, legislated to disregard any convictions for so-called child prostitution, and commission new research into the drivers of these heinous crimes, including ethnicity, religion, cultural factors, group dynamics and the role of online technologies. Central to our response is the statutory independent inquiry into grooming gangs. Having been formally established in April, the work of the inquiry is underway and it will shortly announce the first local areas that will face investigation. The terms of reference have been shaped by the testimony, priorities and lived experience of victims and survivors. And can I take this opportunity to pay tribute to them, Mr Speaker, and to all who have campaigned to get us to this point. The inquiry will have a laser focus on grooming gangs, including the role that ethnicity, religion and culture played in these terrible crimes. Mr Speaker, our message is clear. We will do whatever it takes to secure justice for those who were so badly let down, pursuing the evidence wherever it may lead, exposing failings and taking every necessary step to protect the most vulnerable in our society. For too long, questions about what was and will forever be one of the darkest moments in this country's history have gone unanswered. That must change, which is why the government has established a full independent inquiry to shine a light on past horrors, alongside our wider work to tackle exploitation and abuse, which is backed by a record £100 million in Home Office funding this year, and an unrelenting effort to keep our children safe from harm.
Secretary of State.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the Minister for their answer. It has been 1 year since Dame Louise Casey's stark and deeply troubling review into group-based child sexual exploitation, known rightly as the rape gangs. She exposed what we know now, a culture of institutional blindness, weak data, fragmented accountability and a reluctance to confront uncomfortable truths and ultimately stand up for women and girls who have been systematically abused, or simply they have not chosen to act for the bigger fear was being labelled racist, disgraceful. So deep concerns remain that progress on justice has been too slow and that in some areas is simply superficial. She has rightly warned of a box-ticking culture. This government talks a good game, but recent ministerial Home Office resignations have raised serious questions about what it's delivering in practice. So how does the Minister respond to the deeply distressing but bold testimony of Fiona Goddard, who has bravely highlighted that some of the men convicted of abusing her have been released early, with some others potentially due for release soon. This is Labour's choices, and we warn them. Therefore, what action is being taken to rebuild the confidence of the victims in this process? Does the Minister deeply regret opposing measures to prevent early release in such heartbreaking and horrific cases? Finally, how is the Government ensuring sentencing and post-release supervision reflect the severity of these crimes? I remind the House they were warned by us about their dire choices on the safety of women and girls. What are they going to do about it? Will anything change before the next election, or is this simply in the long grass? Survivors' voices and community concerns need to be heard. This is a matter of justice, accountability and trust. This government needs to step up and protect our women and our girls.
Minister.
14 years.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I think we can agree on some of what the Honourable Lady has said. She's right that there was institutional blindness, and that we have seen in other ways across the state as well, and not just in these horrific cases, and it is something that we know we need to change. And she is right to speak of the victims and the horrors that they have suffered, and she is right to keep a focus on that. I would just gently say on the prison situation that she said that they warned us. I mean, we warned them for very many years about the state of our prison estate and the catastrophic situation that we found when we came into government, where there just simply weren't enough prison places and the whole system was at the point of collapse. And of course, we have had to respond to that. I, as Policing Minister, have a duty to ensure that our police are policing our streets and making sure they keep everybody safe. And we are, of course, always aware of those people who are former criminals who've been in prison, who come out to make sure we are keeping an eye on them in the right way. And I spend a lot of my time talking to the police about how we do that. In terms of Louise Casey, who I think we all admire very greatly and are very grateful for the work that she continues to do. Of course, Louise Casey is right to push us to go faster. Of course she is. She always will, and that's why we asked her to do the job, because she demands the best from us. She also has praised the progress of the government in establishing the inquiry and the work that has been done to date. She is pushing us, understandably, on three areas around the convictions of the non-child prostitution convictions that people who've been groomed might have been convicted of, Operation Beacon Port having information flows in the right way, and Whitehall sort of taking this with the urgency that it needs to be. On all of those cases, we are going as fast as we can. We are responding to the questions that she has rightly asked, and we are pushing to get all of this work done as quickly as possible. She was very clear the inquiry should be a relatively speedy one. This was one of the challenges of Baroness J, and her inquiry that took many, many, many years, excellent though it was, and so the inquiry will be concluded by 2029. It has £65 million of funding, and we will get to the answers.